February 2021, Austin, Texas. A winter storm nobody saw coming knocked out power for over 4 million people. Temperatures plummeted to -13 degrees, pipes burst, people died from carbon monoxide poisoning trying to heat their homes with grills and car engines. Families huddled together in single rooms, burning furniture just to stay warm. This wasn't some dystopian movie, this was real life, and it could happen anywhere. I'm Zach, and I've been prepping since 2012, and let me tell you something right now that could save your life. Most people think a winter power outage is just an inconvenience. They're dead wrong. When the grid goes down and temperatures drop, you've got maybe 6 to 12 hours before your house becomes uninhabitable. After that, you're not just uncomfortable, you're in survival mode. Today, I'm breaking down the 11 must-have items that separate the prepared from the casualties. These aren't luxury items or wish list gadgets. These are the tools that keep families alive when winter shows no mercy. And here's what I learned the hard way back in 2014 during a 5-day blackout in Minnesota. Having some of these items isn't enough. You need all of them, and you need to know exactly how to use them before disaster strikes. Number 11. Alternative cooking methods. When the power dies, so does your stove, your microwave, your coffee maker. Everything that makes food edible becomes a useless hunk of metal and plastic. But here's what most people don't realize. You can't just grab any portable cooking device and call it good. The wrong choice can kill you faster than starvation. Butane camp stoves are your first line of defense. They're clean burning, easy to control, and work reliably in cold conditions. But, and this is critical, you need the right fuel. Butane canisters perform poorly below freezing. The gas won't vaporize properly, leaving you with a weak flame or no flame at all. That's why I always keep propane as my backup. Propane works down to -44 degrees. When the temperature drops and your butane stove starts sputtering, propane saves the day. Never, and I cannot stress this enough, never use charcoal grills, camping stoves, or generators inside your home. Carbon monoxide is an invisible killer. You won't smell it, you won't see it, but it'll put you to sleep permanently. I've seen too many news stories about families who survived the storm but died from carbon monoxide poisoning because they brought their grill into the garage or basement. Here's a counterintuitive tip most preppers miss. Get a good old-fashioned manual can opener and keep it with your cooking gear. Sounds obvious, right? Wrong. When you're running on adrenaline in a crisis, muscle memory kicks in. You'll automatically reach for your electric opener, and when that doesn't work, you'll waste precious time searching for alternatives. I learned this lesson during a 3-day outage when I had cases of canned soup but couldn't open a single can for the first 2 hours. Wood burning is another option, but only if you've prepared properly. You need seasoned hardwood, not green lumber or construction scraps. Wet wood produces more smoke than heat, and treated lumber releases toxic fumes. If you're planning to use wood as your cooking fuel, start collecting and drying it now. A cord of wood can take 6 months to a year to properly season. The key is redundancy. One cooking method fails, you move to the next. I keep a butane stove for quick meals, a propane burner for extended cooking, and a small wood-burning rocket stove for worst-case scenarios. Each one serves a different purpose, and together they ensure I can prepare hot food no matter what winter throws at me. Number 10. Water storage and purification systems. Water is life. You can survive weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. Yet most people assume their taps will keep flowing during a power outage. That assumption kills. Municipal water systems rely on electric pumps. When the power goes out, water pressure drops. Sometimes it stops completely. Even if water keeps flowing initially, it might not be safe to drink. Power outages can compromise water treatment facilities, leading to contamination warnings. And here's something that caught me off guard during my first winter outage. Even if you have water, you might not be able to access it if your pipes freeze and burst. The baseline is 1 gallon per person per day for drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene. For a family of 4 planning for a week-long outage, that's 28 gallons minimum. But that's just drinking water. You'll need additional water for cleaning, washing dishes, and dealing with sanitation issues that arise when your plumbing fails. Storage containers matter more than you think. Those blue camping water jugs might seem convenient, but they're not designed for long-term storage. The plastic can leach chemicals over time, and they're prone to cracking in freezing temperatures. Food-grade water barrels are the gold standard. They're UV-resistant, designed for long-term storage, and can handle temperature fluctuations without compromising the water inside. But storage is only half the battle. You need multiple purification methods because you never know what water sources you'll encounter. Water purification tablets are compact and lightweight, but they can't remove all contaminants, and they make water taste terrible. Portable water filters are more effective, but require maintenance and eventual replacement. Boiling is foolproof, but requires fuel you might need for other purposes. Here's my system. I keep sealed water storage as my primary source, water purification tablets for emergency situations, and a high-quality portable filter for questionable water sources. I also maintain the ability to boil water using my alternative cooking methods. It's redundant by design because water isn't something you can afford to get wrong.
Number 9. Insulation and weatherproofing materials. Your house is only as strong as its weakest insulation point. When the power goes out and your furnace dies, every gap, crack, and poorly insulated area becomes a thermal liability. Heat escapes faster than you can generate it, and cold air infiltrates every weak spot in your home's envelope. Plastic sheeting and duct tape become your best friends during a winter outage. Heavy mill plastic sheeting can cover broken windows, seal off unused rooms, and create windbreaks around your living space. But not all plastic is created equal. Thin painter's plastic tears easily and won't hold up to wind and temperature stress. You want 6mm construction-grade plastic at minimum. Duct tape seems basic, but it's incredibly versatile during emergencies. It can seal air leaks, hold plastic sheeting in place, temporarily repair damaged insulation, and even patch small holes in clothing or gear. I keep multiple rolls in my winter prep supplies because you'll use more than you expect. Draft stoppers and weather stripping become critical when every degree matters. Those small gaps around doors and windows that you normally ignore become major heat loss points when your heating system is down. Pool noodles work surprisingly well as temporary draft stoppers under doors. They're cheap, effective, and can be cut to fit any opening. Here's something most people overlook. Interior doors become tools for heat conservation. Close off rooms you're not using and focus your heating efforts on a smaller space. Hang blankets over doorways to create additional barriers against cold air infiltration. Think of your home as a series of zones and defend the core zone where your family will spend most of their time. Reflective insulation can redirect heat back into your living space instead of letting it escape through windows and walls. Those emergency Mylar blankets aren't just for wrapping people. Tape them over windows to reflect heat back into the room, or hang them behind heat sources to maximize efficiency. The goal is to create a thermal fortress within your home. Seal the leaks, block the drafts, and concentrate your heat in the smallest defensible space possible. Every bit of insulation you add extends the time you can survive without external heating.
Number 8. Non-perishable food supply. When the power fails, your refrigerator and freezer transform from food preservation systems into expensive spoilage containers. Within hours, perishable food becomes a health hazard. Within days, you're left with nothing edible unless you've planned ahead. Canned goods are the backbone of emergency food storage. They're shelf-stable, nutritionally dense, and ready to eat without cooking if necessary. But not all canned goods are equal for winter emergencies. Focus on high-calorie options like chili, stew, and hearty soups that provide both nutrition and warmth. Your body burns more calories trying to stay warm, so you'll need more food than usual. Here's where most people go wrong. They stock up on canned vegetables and fruits, but forget about protein and fats. Your body needs all 3 macronutrients, especially during cold stress. Canned meats, nuts, peanut butter, and oils provide the fats and proteins your body craves when fighting hypothermia. Pasta and rice are excellent base foods because they're filling, store well, and can stretch other ingredients. But they require water and fuel to prepare. Make sure you're not planning meals that consume more resources than you can afford. Sometimes a cold can of ravioli is a better choice than hot pasta if it saves you fuel for heating. Energy bars and dried fruits provide quick calories when you need immediate energy. They're also easy to eat with cold hands when fine motor skills are compromised by hypothermia. I learned this during a particularly brutal outage when I couldn't grip utensils properly but could still tear open energy bar packages. Instant coffee and hot chocolate mix might seem like luxuries, but they serve important psychological purposes. Warm drinks boost morale and provide comfort during stressful situations. Plus, caffeine can help maintain alertness when you're monitoring heat sources and staying vigilant for dangerous situations. Storage matters as much as selection. Rodents become more aggressive seeking food and shelter during winter storms. Metal containers or thick plastic bins with tight-fitting lids protect your food stores from contamination. I learned this lesson when mice got into my emergency supplies during a week-long outage, contaminating boxes of crackers and pasta. The key is variety and redundancy. Stock foods that can be eaten cold, foods that require minimal preparation, and comfort foods that boost morale. Plan for more calories than normal because your body will be working harder to maintain core temperature.
Number 7. Manual tools for emergency repairs. When winter storms knock out power, they often damage your home's critical systems at the same time. Pipes burst from freezing. Tree branches punch through roofs. Windows crack from temperature stress. High winds tear off siding and shingles. Without power tools, your ability to make emergency repairs depends entirely on manual tools and your knowledge of how to use them. A good hammer is indispensable for emergency repairs. Not a lightweight finishing hammer, but a substantial framing hammer with a comfortable grip. You'll use it for everything from boarding up broken windows to temporarily securing loose siding. The claw end becomes a pry bar for removing damaged materials and pulling nails. Hand saws cut lumber when your circular saw is useless, but there's a technique to hand sawing that most people have forgotten. Let the saw do the work. Long, smooth strokes with moderate pressure cut faster and cleaner than short, aggressive cuts. Practice before you need it, because emergency repairs aren't the time to learn proper sawing technique. A good knife or multi-tool becomes your Swiss Army solution for dozens of small repairs. Cutting rope, stripping electrical wire, opening packages, scraping surfaces clean before applying patches. The blade needs to hold an edge, and the tool needs to be comfortable during extended use. Cheap multi-tools fail when you need them most. Adjustable wrenches and pliers handle plumbing emergencies and mechanical repairs. Waterline breaks are common during winter power outages as pipes freeze and burst. You need to shut off water quickly and make temporary repairs to prevent flooding. Know where your main water shutoff is located and make sure you have the right tools to operate it. Duct tape, zip ties, and bungee cords are temporary repair materials that can hold things together until permanent fixes are possible. They're not permanent solutions, but they can prevent small problems from becoming life-threatening emergencies. I've used duct tape to seal pipe leaks, zip ties to secure loose gutters, and bungee cords to hold tarps in place over roof damage. Here's something most people don't consider. Manual tools work in conditions that would destroy power tools. Cold temperatures kill batteries. Moisture ruins electronics. Dust and debris clog motor vents. But a hammer works the same at -10 degrees as it does at 70 degrees. Manual tools are reliable when everything else fails. Keep your manual tools organized and accessible. A toolbox buried in the garage under Christmas decorations won't help when you need emergency repairs at 2 in the morning. I keep a basic repair kit in my main living area during winter months because that's where I'll be when problems arise. The goal isn't to rebuild your house during an outage. It's to make temporary repairs that prevent small problems from becoming life-threatening emergencies. Seal the leak, board the window, secure the tarp. Professional repairs come later, when power is restored and conditions improve.
By the way, I know how overwhelming prepping can feel when you're just starting out. You look at lists like this and wonder how you'll ever afford everything, or where you'll store it all. That's exactly why I put together a free resource that cuts through the confusion and gets you started with the basics. It's called How to Turn $50 into a 90-Day Food Supply, and it shows you the exact shopping list I use to build food security on a tight budget. We're talking about specific brands, exact prices, and a simple storage system that works in any home or apartment. You'll also get 37 essential preparedness items most people never think to stockpile, including number 23, which surprised even me when I first learned about it. This guide includes emergency meals you can make with zero cooking fuel or electricity, the one oil that stays shelf-stable for years, and even the gas station snack that works perfectly for bartering. Everything you need to scale up from 1 week to 3 months with confidence, plus storage strategies to keep your supplies organized and fresh. The best part? It's completely free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help fellow preppers get started without breaking the bank or feeling overwhelmed by all the options out there. You can grab your copy using the link in the description or pinned comment below. Just put in your name and email and I'll send it right over. And don't worry about spam. I respect your privacy and I'll never share your information with anyone else. Now, let's get back to the items that could save your life during a winter power outage. Number 6, backup heating solutions. Heat is survival. When temperatures drop below freezing and your furnace fails, you have hours, not days, before hypothermia becomes a real threat. Your body's core temperature needs to stay above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Below that, you start losing the ability to think clearly, make decisions, and perform simple tasks. Below 90 degrees, you're in severe hypothermia and facing organ failure. Portable propane heaters are the most practical backup heating solution for most homes. They provide substantial heat output, run for hours on a single propane tank, and don't require electricity or complex installation. But safety is critical. You need a heater rated for indoor use with automatic shutoff features for low oxygen or tip-over situations. Mr. Heater makes several models specifically designed for indoor emergency heating. Never use outdoor propane heaters inside your home. They're not designed for enclosed spaces and can produce deadly carbon monoxide levels. The money you save buying an outdoor heater isn't worth your family's lives. Always use battery-powered carbon monoxide detectors when running any combustion heater indoors, and crack a window slightly for ventilation, even with indoor-rated heaters. Kerosene heaters provide excellent heat output and can run for 8 to 12 hours on a single tank of fuel. They're particularly effective in larger spaces where propane heaters might struggle. But kerosene heaters require more maintenance and produce odors that some people find objectionable. The fuel is also more difficult to store safely than propane. Wood-burning heating is reliable and renewable if you have the right setup. Portable wood stoves can heat small areas effectively, and fuel is often available from downed branches and trees after winter storms. But wood heating requires constant attention, produces smoke and ash, and burns through fuel quickly. You need a substantial wood supply, seasoned and ready to burn. Here's a heating strategy most people miss. Layer your heating approach starting with personal warming and working outward. Body heat is the most efficient heat source. Multiple layers of clothing, warm hats, and insulated boots keep your core temperature stable with minimal energy input. Sleeping bags rated for sub-zero temperatures retain body heat even when room temperatures drop dangerously low. Heat a small space rather than trying to warm your entire house. Pick one room, preferably interior without exterior walls, and concentrate your heating efforts there. Close it off with blankets over doorways and plastic sheeting over windows. You're creating a survival pod that's easier to heat and hold temperature. Solar heating might seem useless during winter storms, but black painted water containers placed in sunny windows absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night. It's not enough to heat your home, but every BTU helps when fuel is limited. The biggest mistake I see people make is waiting until they're cold to start heating. Once your core temperature drops, your body's heat production decreases and it takes more external heat to warm back up. Start your backup heating before you feel cold and maintain consistent temperature rather than cycling between cold and warm.
Number 5. Illumination systems for extended darkness. Darkness isn't just an inconvenience during a power outage, it's a safety hazard and psychological stressor. When the sun sets at 4:30 in the afternoon during winter months, you're facing 14 hours of darkness. Multiply that by several days or weeks, and inadequate lighting becomes a serious problem. Flashlights are essential, but most people buy cheap models that fail when needed most. You want LED flashlights with multiple brightness settings, long battery life, and durable construction. Tactical flashlights designed for law enforcement or military use are built to withstand abuse and keep working under extreme conditions. Have multiple flashlights positioned throughout your house so you can find one quickly in any room. Battery life becomes critical during extended outages. Alkaline batteries lose power quickly in cold temperatures. Lithium batteries perform better in cold conditions but cost more initially. Rechargeable batteries save money long-term but need power to recharge. I keep alkaline batteries for immediate use, lithium batteries for extended operations, and a solar battery charger for recharging when possible. Lanterns provide area lighting that's more practical than flashlights for daily activities. LED lanterns run for dozens of hours on a set of batteries and illuminate entire rooms. Battery-powered lanterns are convenient, but hand-crank models keep working even when batteries die. Solar lanterns charge during the day and provide light at night without consuming stored batteries. Headlamps free your hands for tasks while providing directed lighting wherever you look. They're invaluable for repairs, cooking, and moving around safely in the dark. The elastic strap can be worn over winter hats, and the hands-free operation makes complex tasks possible that would be dangerous with handheld lights. Candles provide light and some heat, but they're dangerous in emergency situations. Open flames around stressed people, flammable materials, and improvised heating arrangements create fire risks. If you use candles, use them in stable holders away from anything flammable and never leave them unattended. Battery-powered LED candles provide the psychological comfort of flickering light without fire risks. Here's a lighting trick that saves batteries and improves illumination. Place a flashlight or lantern inside a clear gallon water jug. The water disperses and amplifies the light, creating a soft lantern effect that lights larger areas than the direct beam alone. It's particularly effective with LED lights that produce harsh direct illumination. Light discipline becomes important during extended outages. Bright lights visible from outside advertise that you have power when others don't. That can attract unwanted attention from people looking for resources or shelter. Use minimum necessary light levels and shield lights from windows when possible. Psychological effects of darkness are often underestimated. Continuous darkness disrupts sleep cycles, increases anxiety, and can trigger depression in susceptible individuals. Adequate lighting maintains circadian rhythms and provides psychological comfort that helps people cope with emergency stress. The key is redundancy and variety. Multiple types of lighting serve different purposes and provide backups when primary systems fail. You want bright lights for tasks, soft lights for relaxation, and emergency lights that work when everything else is exhausted.
Number 4. Communication and information devices. When power grids fail, communication networks often follow. Cell towers lose power, internet service providers shut down, and landline systems become unreliable. Information becomes scarce exactly when you need it most. Weather updates, emergency instructions, and coordination with family members become difficult or impossible without backup communication systems. Battery-powered or hand-crank radios provide access to emergency broadcasts when other communication methods fail. NOAA weather radio broadcasts continuous updates about storm conditions, evacuation orders, and emergency information. AM and FM radio stations often stay on the air longer than other services because they have backup power systems and serve critical public information roles. The radio needs multiple power options to be useful during extended outages. Battery power is convenient but limited. Hand crank power is renewable but requires physical effort. Solar charging works during daylight hours but may be limited during winter storms. Combination units that offer all three power options provide maximum reliability. Two-way radios allow communication with family members when cell phones don't work. FRS radios don't require licenses and provide several miles of range in open areas. Range decreases in buildings and rough terrain, but they're still useful for coordinating activities around your property or neighborhood. GMRS radios offer longer range but require an FCC license that's easy to obtain. Satellite messengers provide emergency communication when all terrestrial systems fail. Devices like Garmin InReach or ACR Rescue Link send distress signals to rescue services via satellite networks that work anywhere on Earth. They're expensive but potentially life-saving if you face medical emergencies or life-threatening situations during extended isolation. Cell phone power management becomes critical when you can't recharge regularly. Reduce screen brightness, turn off unnecessary apps, disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning, and use airplane mode when signal is weak. These steps can extend battery life from hours to days, keeping your phone functional for emergency calls when brief service becomes available. Portable power banks keep communication devices charged when grid power isn't available. Solar power banks charge slowly but can maintain small devices indefinitely during daylight hours. Large-capacity power banks can recharge phones multiple times but eventually exhaust their stored energy. Hand-crank power banks provide unlimited power but require physical effort to generate. Information gathering goes beyond weather and emergency broadcasts. Shortwave radio provides access to international news and information when local sources are unavailable. Amateur radio operators often provide emergency communications and local information during disasters. Scanner radios let you monitor emergency services to understand what's happening in your area. Here's something most people don't consider. Write down important phone numbers and keep them with your emergency supplies. When your phone battery dies or devices fail, you'll still have the numbers you need to call for help or contact family members from working phones you might encounter. Physical maps become important when GPS systems don't work. Know the roads, landmarks, and emergency facilities in your area without relying on electronic navigation. Mark locations of hospitals, fire stations, emergency shelters, and alternate routes out of your area on paper maps that don't need power to function. The goal is maintaining awareness of conditions around you and keeping communication options available for emergencies. Information helps you make better decisions, and communication helps you coordinate with others and call for help when needed. Number 3. Personal hygiene and sanitation supplies. Sanitation isn't a luxury during emergencies, it's disease prevention. When power fails, water systems often follow. Toilets stop flushing, hot water disappears, and washing facilities become limited or non-functional. Poor sanitation leads to illness that compounds emergency stress and can become life-threatening when medical care isn't readily available.
Water for hygiene becomes a precious resource when supplies are limited. You'll need water for drinking, cooking, and basic sanitation, but hygiene water doesn't need to be potable. Melted snow can be used for washing as long as it's not consumed. Stored rainwater or water from natural sources works for cleaning as long as it's kept separate from drinking water supplies. Baby wipes and hand sanitizer provide cleaning without using water. They're not as effective as soap and water, but they remove dirt and kill germs when water isn't available. Stock up on antibacterial versions and get the large containers rather than small travel packs. You'll use more than you expect during extended outages. Toilet paper becomes critical when stores are closed and supply chains are disrupted. Most households keep a few weeks' worth at most, but extended outages can last much longer. Alternative materials like tissues, paper towels, or cloth rags can substitute, but they're not as comfortable or convenient. Stock more toilet paper than you think you'll need. Portable toilets or waste bags handle sanitation when plumbing doesn't work. 5-gallon buckets with toilet seats and waste bags create functional toilets that can be emptied when services resume. Commercial camping toilets are more comfortable but take up more storage space. The key is having a plan for waste disposal that doesn't create health hazards. Feminine hygiene products are essential supplies that can't be improvised easily. Stock extra supplies beyond normal needs because emergency stress can affect menstrual cycles and usage patterns. Alternative products like menstrual cups don't require regular replacement and work when disposable products aren't available. Soap and shampoo in small, concentrated forms take up less storage space and work effectively in cold water. Camping soaps are formulated to work without hot water and rinse clean with minimal water use.
Dry shampoo extends the time between hair washing when hot water isn't available. Here's a sanitation strategy that prevents major problems. Set up a washing station with soap, water, and towels near your main living area. Regular hand washing prevents the spread of germs in close living conditions. Even cold water washing is effective if done frequently and thoroughly. Dental hygiene prevents painful problems that can't be easily treated during emergencies. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, and mouthwash maintain oral health when professional dental care isn't available. Dental infections can become serious medical problems that compound emergency stress. Garbage and waste management becomes important when regular pickup services stop. Plan for storing waste safely until disposal services resume. Organic waste attracts pests and creates sanitation problems. Burning waste might be an option if local regulations allow, but many materials produce toxic fumes when burned. The psychological effects of maintaining cleanliness shouldn't be underestimated. Feeling clean improves morale and self-confidence during stressful situations. It also maintains social bonds when families are confined together in small spaces for extended periods of time. Number 2. Medical supplies and medications. Medical emergencies don't pause during power outages. In fact, they often increase due to accidents in dark conditions, injuries from emergency heating methods, and health complications from stress and exposure. When emergency services are overwhelmed or unable to respond, your medical supplies become the difference between minor problems and life-threatening situations. Prescription medications top the medical priority list. Most people keep a few days' worth at home, but extended outages can last weeks. Work with your doctor and pharmacy to build a reasonable supply of essential medications. Many insurance plans allow early refills for emergency preparedness. Keep medications in their original containers with current labels to avoid confusion during stressful situations. First aid supplies handle cuts, burns, and injuries that are common during power outages. Sterile gauze, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, and adhesive bandages treat minor wounds before they become infected. Include burn gel for cooking accidents and heating mishaps that are more likely when using alternative methods. Pain relievers reduce suffering and allow continued function when professional medical care isn't available. Stock multiple types including acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and aspirin. They work differently and are suitable for different types of pain and medical conditions. Include children's formulations if you have kids, because adult medications can't always be safely divided. Thermometers help recognize serious medical conditions before they become life-threatening. Fever indicates infection that might require medical attention. Hypothermia symptoms include confusion and altered mental state, but body temperature measurement provides objective data for medical decisions. Digital thermometers work better than mercury models in cold conditions.
Blood pressure monitors are important for people with cardiovascular conditions that can be worsened by emergency stress. Cold exposure, physical exertion from manual tasks, and psychological stress all increase blood pressure. Knowing your numbers helps you make decisions about activity levels and medication needs. Diabetes management requires special preparation because blood sugar control becomes difficult during emergencies. Extra test strips, insulin if required, and glucose sources for low blood sugar episodes. Stress and irregular eating patterns affect blood sugar control even for people with well-managed diabetes. Antibiotics can prevent minor infections from becoming serious problems when medical care isn't available. Fish antibiotics available without prescriptions are chemically identical to human medications but aren't regulated for human consumption. Consult with medical professionals about including antibiotics in your emergency supplies if appropriate for your situation. Here's a medical supply strategy most people miss. Learn basic medical skills before you need them. First aid classes, CPR certification, and basic emergency medical training help you use your supplies effectively. Medical supplies without knowledge are less useful than knowledge with improvised supplies. Dental emergency supplies prevent painful problems that can become serious infections when medical care isn't available. Temporary filling material, pain relievers, and oral antibiotics handle common dental problems until professional care is available. Dental infections can spread to other parts of the body and become life-threatening without treatment. Mental health medications and supplies address psychological stress that's common during extended emergencies. Anti-anxiety medications, sleep aids, and stress management supplies help maintain mental stability when facing prolonged, challenging conditions. Alcohol and recreational drugs might seem like stress relievers, but often compound problems during emergencies. Medical reference books provide guidance when internet resources aren't available. Basic medical manuals, first aid guides, and medication references help you make informed decisions about treatment options. Include guides specific to conditions affecting your family members. The goal isn't to replace professional medical care, but to handle problems that arise when professional care isn't available. Medical emergencies during power outages often require improvised solutions using available supplies and knowledge. Preparation improves your ability to handle medical challenges and buy time until normal medical services resume. Number 1. Emergency power generation. Power is the foundation that supports almost every other survival system. Without electricity, your furnace doesn't run, your water pump stops working, your lights don't function, and your communication devices slowly die. Emergency power generation provides the electrical foundation that keeps critical systems operating when the grid fails. Portable generators are the most versatile emergency power solution for most situations. Gas-powered generators provide substantial power output that can run multiple appliances simultaneously. They can power heating systems, refrigeration, lighting, and communication devices for days or weeks with adequate fuel supply. Generator sizing matters more than most people realize. Undersized generators can't handle startup loads from large appliances like furnaces and refrigerators. Oversized generators waste fuel running light loads inefficiently. Calculate your essential electrical needs and size your generator accordingly. Remember that heating and cooling appliances use much more power than lights and electronics. Fuel storage becomes critical for extended outages. Gasoline goes bad in a few months without stabilizers and can damage generator engines. Propane stores indefinitely and burns cleaner than gasoline, but provides less power per unit volume. Diesel fuel stores longer than gasoline and is more efficient, but diesel generators cost more initially. Generator safety prevents carbon monoxide poisoning that kills people every year during power outages. Never run generators inside homes, garages, or other enclosed spaces. Place generators at least 20 feet from windows, doors, and air intakes. Install battery-powered carbon monoxide detectors in living areas when running generators nearby. Solar power systems provide renewable electricity without fuel requirements or noise concerns. Portable solar generators combine solar panels, battery storage, and power inverters in systems that can run essential devices indefinitely. They're quieter and cleaner than fuel-powered generators, but provide less power and depend on sunlight for recharging. Battery backup systems bridge the gap between grid power failure and generator startup. Uninterruptible power supplies keep critical devices running during brief outages and provide time to start backup generators during longer failures. Deep cycle battery banks can power essential devices for hours or days without recharging. Power management becomes important when generation capacity is limited. Prioritize essential loads like heating, lighting, and communication over convenience items like televisions and gaming systems. Use efficient LED lighting instead of incandescent bulbs. Run high-power appliances one at a time rather than simultaneously. Here's a power generation strategy that most people overlook. Combine multiple power sources for redundancy and efficiency. Solar charging during daylight hours extends battery life. Generators handle high-power loads efficiently. Battery systems provide silent power when noise is a concern. Each system covers weaknesses in the others. Manual charging methods provide limited power without fuel or sunlight. Hand-crank generators can charge phones and radios with physical effort. Bicycle-powered generators convert pedaling energy into electrical power. These methods produce small amounts of power
but work when other systems fail. Inverters convert 12-volt battery power into household AC electricity that can run standard appliances. Car batteries and charging systems can provide substantial electrical power during emergencies. Vehicles become mobile power plants that can charge devices and run small appliances when other power sources aren't available.
Electrical safety becomes critical when using emergency power systems. Improper generator connections can backfeed electricity into power lines and kill utility workers trying to restore service. Use transfer switches or carefully disconnect main breakers when connecting generators to house wiring. Extension cords should be rated for outdoor use and generator power output. The goal is maintaining electrical power for essential systems that keep you safe and comfortable during extended outages. Power generation requires planning, equipment, and fuel supplies that need to be prepared before emergencies occur. When the grid fails, your emergency power systems become the difference between surviving and thriving during challenging conditions. These 11 items form a comprehensive foundation for surviving winter power outages. Each one addresses critical needs that arise when normal systems fail. The key is having all of them ready before you need them, because disasters don't wait for convenient timing. Remember, preparation isn't about paranoia or fear-mongering. It's about taking responsibility for your family's safety and well-being when external systems fail. Every winter brings power outages somewhere. Most are brief and manageable, but some last days or weeks and test the limits of human endurance. Start with the basics and build your capabilities over time. You don't need to buy everything at once, but you do need to start. Make a plan, gather supplies, and practice using your emergency equipment before you face a real crisis. Knowledge and preparation today prevent suffering and tragedy tomorrow. If you haven't grabbed my free guide yet on turning $50 into a 90-day food supply, the link is in the description below. It's a great starting point that removes the overwhelm and gets you moving in the right direction with practical, affordable steps you can take right now. Winter storms will keep coming and power grids will keep failing. The question isn't whether you'll face a winter power outage, it's whether you'll be ready when it happens. These 11 items give you the tools to not just survive, but maintain comfort and safety when others are struggling. Don't wait for the weather forecast to start your preparations. Don't wait for the first snowfall or the emergency alert on your phone. Start now, while stores are stocked, while you have time to research and compare options, and while you can learn to use your equipment properly. Your family's safety depends on the decisions you make today. Winter doesn't negotiate, and power outages don't wait for permission. But with the right preparation, the right mindset, and the right equipment, you can face whatever winter throws at you with confidence. Hit that like button if this video helped you understand what it takes to survive a winter power outage. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss future content that could save your life or make your preparedness journey easier. And share this with anyone who needs to see it, because preparation saves lives, and we're all stronger when we're all prepared. Stay safe out there, and remember that every day you're not preparing is a day you're falling behind. Winter is coming, whether you're ready or not. The choice is yours.